Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the program. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. It's the second day of the new year, and Nigerians are eager to turn the page and embrace the promise of a brighter future. Despite the difficulties of the past year, government has been projecting optimism for 2025, with President Tinubu now outlining his vision for a more prosperous and secure nation. So as we step into the new year, many are wondering what lies ahead and whether government's plans, as we've heard them, will truly translate into tangible improvements in their lives. I'll be joined on the program this morning by Dr. Sani Shinkafi to discuss the challenges and opportunities that 2025 present. He is the Executive Director of Patriots for Advancement of Peace and Social Development. Welcome to the show, Dr. Shinkafi, and Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, to you. Thank you for having me.
Let's begin with security. You addressed a press conference on Monday, alerting President Tinubu about a threatening video clip from bandit kingpin Bello Turji to communities, including Shinkafi. You mentioned that some communities already have started deserting their homes for fear of insecurity. What is the current situation now?
Yeah, the current situation now, Bello Turji have gave a deadline. 1st January 2025 is going to renew his attacks, kidnapping for ransom, killings, displacement of innocent people from the rural communities, and the burning down of houses and motor supply on the highway. So on 31st December 2024, a day before the deadline, he now renewed his attacks. Attacks 3 vehicles on flying Shinkafi Oranamora Road. Some people were killed, some people were heavily injured. Some also were kidnapped and hospitalized in Shinkafi General Hospital. And more than 50 communities have now fled their homes to Namoda, some to Shinkafi, some to Zurmi. And he has made mention that he's going to do the attacks in East local government, which is in Sokoto State, Sokoto East, and also in Shinkafi and Zurmi. If his ally, Bab Owurgi, was not released by the military higher command in Zamfara State. So this is the challenges, and these are the problems we're having at hand. And up to now, there was no any serious attention given to this problem. Many of our people are in serious, they have been intimidated, harassed, and killed by this notorious armed bandit kingpin. So people in our community have begun the new year with sorrow, mourning, fear, and threat by this notorious armed bandit kingpin Bello Turji. So the Fulani leaders, that is Metiala leaders and so on, met him in his hideout, pleaded with him not to continue with the attacks, but he was so adamant on their request, and he has sworn that he will continue with his deadly acts.
Absolutely. You also mentioned that there's an urgent attention, that the people need urgent attention from governors of Zamfara, Sokoto, and indeed Mr. President. Has there been any significant response in that regard?
In that regard, there was no any significant response on the part of the security agencies and also on the part of the state governors. Because I have told you that still people are living in fears of being killed or kidnapped by these ungodly, notorious and bandit kingpin. So on the part of the security agencies, which is federal government and the state government, there was no any significant response, and there was no any precautionary measures which has been taken to curtail.
We actually heard from the Nigerian military. We probably would just play that report. The defense headquarters had described notorious bandit kingpin Bello Turji as a dead man walking in response to his threats.
You see, this is a habitual comment.
Days after wanted terror warlord Bello Turji released a video threatening to unleash violence on communities in Zamfara State if the military authorities fail to release their relatives arrested by troops, and the military is talking tough.
With that bombing that took place,
Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, who read out a long list of more than 10,000 terrorists taken out by troops in 2024, emphasized that Turji will soon be added to the list.
Bello Turji, take it from me, is merely a dead man walking, as he will soon follow suit with many others that have been eliminated during the course of the year.
A breakdown of the recoveries indicates 4,332 AK-47 rifles, 1,244 locally fabricated guns, 838 Din guns, and 259 pump-action guns. Others are 128,496 rounds of 7.62 mm special ammunition, 45,445 rounds of 7.62 mm NATO, 5,103 cartridges, 2,131 assorted arms, and 29,176 assorted ammunitions. The military authorities assure that troops will stop at nothing in eliminating threats to national security. Sifon Asian, TVC News, Abuja.
Dr. Shinkafi, you heard the
Days after
saying that Bello Turji is a dead man walking and that it will end up like the other terrorists that have been killed. Are you saying that there are no visible signs of increased security presence in Shinkafi following this development?
Development up to today, as I'm talking to you, there's not any significant attempt or effort which have clearly demonstrated that what the military command said, that they are into action. Yeah, because when they armed bandit, you know, today is even a weekly market day of Shinkafi. People have deserted from the market because of the fear of being attacked by this deadly armed bandit. So we have been commending the effort of Nigerian military, but we wanted to redouble their efforts. This armed bandit, his hideout is well known to the community, is well known to the security. Even where he stays, the coordinate, the area coordinate where he stays, the military high command has the vital information where he is hiding. So I see no reason why we should just waste our time on dreams or on mere statement. What the people want to see is a total military action, deployment of these military forces. It is out. It's not an issue of blowing grammar, Oxford Dictionary grammar. What the people want is action. This armed bandit need to be neutralized.
Well, Dr. Shinkafi, I thought at some point you also acknowledged the successes of the Nigerian military in neutralizing bandit leaders like Turji. What's your assessment of the successes that we've learnt about in the past year in neutralizing these bandits, and what impact do you think it's had in the overall security of that region?
You see, one of the most significant and highly celebrated effort of the military in the 2024 in Zamfara State is the killing of Halu and his combatants and his foot soldiers on September 2024. Halilu Sububu is one of the strongest, the wealthiest, one of the most deadly armed bandit kingpin in the northwest and also in the northern region. And the Halilu Sububu has more than 3,500.
Well, I think, Dr. Shinkafi, we lost it for a minute. If you can hear me, please go ahead. All right, we're probably going to work that out. We're currently having issues with this connectivity. Dr. Shinkafi, we lost it for a minute. Can you hear me now? Dr. Shinkafi?
I'm with you.
Okay, please go ahead. We lost it for a minute. I think it was your network.
It's one of the strongest, the wealthiest armed bandit kingpin in the Zamfara state and also in the northwest region and in the northern Nigeria entirely. But the military to use their operations along Mayanchi Telati Mapara Road was neutralized on September 2024, which was highly commended, highly celebrated. When Mr. President directed the Chief of Defense Staff and the Minister of State for Defense to relocate to Sokoto military headquarters, that is General Officer Commanding in Sokoto, they were able to coordinate this attacks, and he was neutralized. So this is one of the efforts, and many commandants in Dogondaji village, in Maru local government, in Zulumi local government, in El Sado villages, as is, many group of these armed bandits were neutralized. So we are not saying that military are not doing the needful, but what we are saying, some of these notorious armed bandits, if they are being killed, the activities of these armed banditry or armed bandit will be reduced to the minimum barest level. So this is what I said. Turji is one of the most wanted, most notorious, and most deadly armed bandit and heartless armed bandit. So people are yearning, are demanding for him to be eliminated from all left and right. So this is what we are saying. He has been terrorizing people for over a decade. And he has turned people to homeless.
It sounds as if the military also aligns with your thinking, you know, with what the spokesman said in the earlier report, that the suspect in question is a dead man walking. But I want us to quickly explore the non-kinetic approach to resolving this issue, because we have quite a number of other things to talk about. I recall speaking with the Kaduna State Governor late last year, who mentioned that his non-kinetic effort is yielding results. What do you think are the challenges facing the amnesty program in Zamfara and Sokoto? How can they learn from successes, for instance, from the Kaduna model program?
You see, this in this fight against terrorists or any war against terrorists or any war internationally, you need to apply two approaches: kinetic and non-kinetic approach. When you are talking of non-kinetic approach, then you mean that you have to go into peace dialogue with this criminal armed bandit. When you are talking of kinetic approach, there should be a total military forces to be deployed to flush this criminal once and for all. But to go into non-kinetic approach is a welcome deployment. But the problem, these armed bandits are not sincere. And when the government and the armed bandits are not adhere to the terms and conditions of the peace dialogue, then all what you have arranged with them, it will collapse. Abdullahi Ziari, the former governor of Zamfara State, initiated this dialogue with this armed bandit. Well, when it goes to some period of time, the arrangement collapsed. And also, former governor of Zamfara, immediate past governor of Zamfara State, Bello Mohammed Matawale, he entered into peace dialogue with this armed bandit. But at the long run, the peace accord collapsed, failed. So the Sokoto State governor, the immediate Sokoto State governor, Waziri Tambol, had done similar thing, the non-kinetic approach with this Bello Tuji and other notorious armed bandits operating in Sokoto East. But at the same time, it has not changed the narratives. So they are not sincere, they are not honest.
Do you?
And on the government also sometimes, they are not at their agreement with the bandits. That is the truth of the matter.
What kind of collaboration have we seen, or do you foresee, amongst the governors in the region resolving this challenge?
There is need to build synergy between the northwest governors in the region and also beyond the northwest zone. You see, if you look at it now, Zamfara is the safe haven for armed bandits. Zamfara is the epicenter of the banditry. Zamfara share boundary with Sokoto State. Zamfara share boundary with Katsina State. Zamfara share boundary with Niger State. Zamfara share boundary with Katsina State. And partly with part of Kaduna State. So there needs to be a synergy to have a joint task force where all these governors will now come and contribute funds to fight this insecurity in the region.
You had also
Kano and Jigawa State are not being affected by this armed banditry. But all these 5 states, we have 7 states in the northwest, all these 7 states are affected due to the escalation of armed banditry activities in Zamfara State and also spread to Niger State. So these are, all hands must be on deck to build a synergy how to fight these criminals and their sponsors once and for all.
You know, you had mentioned the political component of this development. Is there any update on the Defense Headquarters investigation into the sponsorship of banditry in the Northwest region, which you had previously alleged involved some top politicians?
Yeah, you see the military headquarters last year said they're investigating the sponsors of this armed banditry, yet they are yet to make their report public. So one of the root cause of this armed banditry and terrorism, there is a political manipulation from political elites. These are some politicians are using this issue of banditry or issue of insecurity as a campaign tools during the election campaign. So all these politicians manipulating electorate using politics should stop. You stop, because they are toying with the life and property of electorate in their states. So this, as the military headquarters, are yet to make the report public. So when they make the report public, we'll know who is who and who are involved.
Precisely, what would you say has to be done now to tackle the issue with Shinkafi and the neighboring communities in the aftermath of the video released by Bello Toji?
What do we need? We need a deployment of military police, and not military. That should be a deployment of military in this neighboring local government, Zulmi local government, and Shinkafi local government, and there should be a border control. Shinkafi share border with Niger Republic. Isa local government share border with Niger Republic. Sabobri local government share border with Niger Republic. Zulmi share border with Niger Republic. So there's a forest border on government spaces where it can give easily smuggling of smaller and lighter arms into the land border. There should be a proper check and balances in the land border to checkmate the proliferation of smaller and lighter arms into Zulmi or into Shinkafi or into Isa or into Sabombrni because of the proximity of the border with these towns. Because in Chida, where you come from, it will take you 20 kilometers to enter into the Niger Republic. That is home, is village, is country home. So the proximity of the border and the porosity of the border also get bad to the smuggling of smaller and lighter arms, which is also sustaining the armed banditry in these communities.
So there is what the military has to do. But every time we hear from security forces, they also talk about what the people have to do to be able to tackle this problem. And it boils down to intelligence. You recall that the last time we heard about error bombing, which the military explained, they did say that there is no neighborhood where these bandits operate from without the support of the people in those places, that it's practically impossible for bandits to operate without the knowledge of those who live around them. How much of cooperation is the military getting from, communities like Shinkafi? You are Waban Shinkafi. What role do you think chieftains, kings and community leaders have to play in this regard? Because without this intelligence, they can't get the job done.
You see, I obviously agree with you, because the activities of the informant, some unpatriotic even security agents, and also some unscrupulous traditional rulers have been aiding and abetting the sustenance of this armed banditry in these communities. Some motorcycle dealers, drug suppliers, logistics suppliers, oil suppliers, some tailors sewing army uniform, some arms and ammunition peddlers. There are a lot of syndicates. It has a lot of criminal economic value chain. Many people are involved. People selling drugs, that is hard drugs. Some quack doctors, some corrupt justices, because of there is a weak judicial system. So that are some of the components that is sustaining this armed banditry in this locality. So some people are being recruited as informants by this armed bandit. It's a criminal enterprise. A lot of people are involved, using as a way of making money through criminal way. So some livestock dealers are involved, as I have said. Some even these Babalawo native doctors are involved. So what we need, there should be a total public enlightenment. The religious leaders should constantly go into the preaching people, telling them there is need for attitudinal change. There is need for them to adhere to the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how to conduct their daily lives. But because people are so desperate to make money by hook or by crook, that is one of the things sustaining this armed banditry in this locality. These are the truth of the matter.
Dr. Shinkafi, let's take a short break. When we return, we'll turn our attention to the economy and what we're hearing from the presidency in the new year. Stay with us, everyone.
In Marina Station and all the passengers. Efficient, it's comfortable.
This development will go a long way in reducing congestion and emission.
The trains are a long-term solution to Lagos traffic challenges.
This is where we take the final, decisions on policies, programs of government. I will have to ensure that, the narration of Lagos as a PLC is taken very, very seriously.
This is a major pedestrian bridge linking Oyingo here to Apapa Road over there.
With this overpass, we are providing what we call permanent solutions.
This place is one of the most dangerous areas at the biosecurity environment.
This can go into the news and every crimes of your neighborhood.
Our goal is to remain as Africa's model megacity, to move our GDP from the 5-6 position to the 3rd position, and we believe is achievable with all the commitments we have.
Explore the city of Lagos, where dreams are made and possibilities are endless. I'm Adedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Thanks for staying with us, everyone. We're talking about challenges and expectations for the new year. We started with security, especially in Zamfara and Sokoto, following the threat in a video made by one of the bandit leaders there. My guest is Dr. Sani Abdullahi Shinkafi, who is the Executive Director of Patriots for Advancement of Peace and Social Development. He joins us live from Zamfara State. Thank you for staying the course on the program, Dr. Shinkafi. Let's turn our attention to the economy now. It's perhaps the second time we're hearing from Mr. President in recent weeks, aftermath his maiden media chat. How do you assess the effectiveness of his communication strategy? Would you say that his message is getting to the people?
Yeah, the message is getting to the people. The message is getting to the people. In 2020, you know, he has made mentioning of how the economy will prosper in the 2025. He made mention of reducing the inflation 15%, and he has made mention of convocation of youth conference, which he had made mention after he made a speech during the end bad governance protest in October last year. And he made mention of the market forces will checkmate the price of petroleum product because of the local refinery have started refining the crude oil locally here in Nigeria. And he made mention of the forex stability. So some of the projection he made are visible and peaceable and enforceable. But some of on the issue of the 15% reduction of the inflation from 34.6% to 15% is a mere dream. It cannot be realistic. That is the truth of the matter. Because what Nigerians are looking for, the reduction of the cost of food items, what Nigerians are looking for on the issue of fight against poverty, starvation, and hunger, all the total earnings of the average Nigerian end up in buying food items, 60% on buying food items, not talking less of medication or medical or payment of school fees. People are struggling.
Well, we're having challenges with that connection. Dr. Shinkafi, we probably will work on that and hopefully we can reconnect with him. He's making reference to the very ambitious plan that Mr. President has reiterated again and again of bringing down inflation rate from 34% thereabout to 15% in the new year. And they seem to be saying that it's more of a dream and that it doesn't believe that is realistic. But there's also the dimension of the economic empathy and resonance that we're getting from Mr. President's speech. I understand that Dominic has called in. Good morning. Happy New Year to you. Please go ahead with the contribution. Reverend Dominic, good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, sir.
Can you hear me? Can I go on?
Yes, I can hear you, Reverend. Please go ahead with your...
If you can hear me, give me a signal. Can I go on?
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead with the contribution.
Okay. Tell me, the issue of security in Nigeria at times give me some concern. Okay, I'm on, if you can hear me. The issue of security in Nigeria gives some of us concern. Concern in this sense. There is insecurity most of part of the world. But the way our own plays out here, defies common sense. How could a man make a video or a threat in Nigeria that is going to attack a particular village? And in all the equipment we have in military, the man also carry out that threat. That shows that something is wrong somewhere. Everybody that fought America or attacked America on 9/11, none of them is alive today to tell the story. But unfortunately, this man you mentioned now, Bello, has been in the scene for over many years. I may be wrong or right. I saw a BBC documentary where they went to interview this man in Nigerian soil. So the man that spoke just earlier from Zamfara said that elders of Zamfara had gone to meet this man, which means the threat against us is not unknown. We know the person, we know his location. Why do he make a threat and carry it out? It doesn't make sense of a great nation that has the biggest army in Africa. It doesn't make sense the money we have invested in Tucano and fighter jets. It doesn't make sense. What I always ask myself, what do we want to do with and the terrorism in Nigeria? The reason inflation in food here today, one of the reasons is because our brothers cannot access their farm. If Nigerians can access their farm, this government have done a lot for food price to come down. But people cannot access their farm. When I was in the village, in those days my father goes to farm, my mother goes to farm. When there's a harvest time, nobody goes to each other to go and take corn or yam or cassava. Everybody eats what he farms. And you can know what the impact of it in the economy. But now, almost 60% of our brothers in northern states cannot access their farm. How would this dream of budget come to pass? Please and please, can we fight this insecurity once for all and find a peaceful Nigeria where we can live? God bless Nigeria and a happy new year.
Happy New Year, Reverend Dominic. Thank you. Well, the latest we're hearing from Nigerian military is that the man is dead man walking. We'll follow that and see how they respond. Dr. Shinkafi, we lost you for a minute, but we've heard Mr. President acknowledging these economic challenges you have talked about in 2024. Do you find these acknowledgements refreshing? Do you believe his message resonates with the people, especially when it comes to his plans for the new year?
Year of turbulence, year of insecurity, year of hunger and starvation, year of protest, and year of galloping increase in inflation rate persistently. So for more than 3 decades, Nigerians have never experienced how the food item price was skyrocketed. Where the food item price is skyrocketed, you understand? And it was going at the galloping rate from 30,000 naira a bag of rice up to 140,000 naira or 149,000 naira. So it's a year of hardship, year of poverty, year of turbulence. So the Mr. President and his economic team need to tighten their belt very well to see how Nigerian, an average Nigerian, the higher cost of living can be reduced to the barest minimum level. Because on all segments
in all of that hardship, Dr. Shinkafi, the feelers we're getting from the presidency is that the economic indicators and outlook appears good. So Mr. President is talking about economic indicators like decrease in fuel prices, foreign trade surpluses, a strengthened naira. I'm wondering what your analysis of these indices is. Do you think they accurately reflect our current state of the economy, and are they things we can count on moving into the new year?
You see, what brought this hardship is the floating of the forex. That is unification of the exchange rate, and also withdrawal of the oil subsidy. Most of these policies, are hard policies, and it is a long-term economic reform. The impact of it may not likely be seen in this year. The price of the petroleum product which have decreased is the market forces. And in an imperfect market, the market forces will checkmate. In a competitive market, the market forces will checkmate the price of a commodity. So with the coming of the Dangote refinery on board, and also operation of Otako refinery, and now Wari refinery, so the market forces will now force the price of the petroleum product to come down, to deregulate the prices, because it's now a competitive market. So that is the truth of in illiterate economics. When there is a competitive market, when some competitors are in the market, so the price of the commodity and the demand and supply forces will now force the price to come down. It's not a market.
Dr. Shinkafi, we are really counting on that, especially with the refineries you've talked about. Hopefully the Kaduna refinery will also come upstream this year. But let's quickly take a call from Mr. George. He's called in from Lagos here. Good morning, Mr. George.
Hello, Mr. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead with your contribution.
All right. We continue from where Reverend Dominic stopped, because he has said some of the things I wanted to say. The speaker, Dr. Shinkafi, said something that caught my attention. He said the Fulani leaders visited this bandit kingpin. That speaks volumes, Nifemi. The leaders of the community where this man is terrorizing had a meeting with him at his handout, at his hideout. That is to say, if this community wants the military to deal with this person, they are in a position to help the military to get adequate information about his movements. It brings me back to what the example I always make with that of the Southwest. The community members are the ones who suffer the effects of these people, the activities of these crooks. But they are at the same time the ones who encourage them to attack them. In the Southwest, where I live here, whenever something like that comes up, it is the community members that will first expose the criminals. The Lukarawa, for example, that came up recently in Sokoto and the environs, we are told that they've been living with these communities for 6 years. These community members did not say anything about these criminals until they turned against them. That is not the way we see it here in the South. Why is the community conniving with the criminals? Only when they are now uncomfortable with their activities, then they cry out and then start blaming the military. The military is doing the best they can, but I think we should give them the benefit of the doubt. Bearing in mind, because they rolled out recently and their recent achievements in this war. For the community itself, the community members should accept this challenge and take up responsibility too. The war cannot be won by the military alone.
All right.
That's the point. Each time this speaker comes on screen to talk to us, I see the pain that he expresses about these activities. Let his communities listen to people like this.
All right.
Good morning. We're in a new year. Let us begin in a new place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. George. Dr. Shinkafi, are you able to hear the caller?
No, I'm not hearing. The network is very bad, but maybe you can.
He's saying, is it possible that we are underestimating the power of the community in getting these bandit leaders? He referenced your claim that he was visited by some Fulanis and that the community members know these people and where they live. and perhaps the military can't do much if the community is covering up.
Yeah, I totally agree with the caller that if the community are not supportive of giving vital information to the security agencies, then the military hands are tied, because most of these armed bandits are indigenous. They are born and brought up in that locality, in Shinkafi local government. Everybody know the mother of Tutsi and his father, and most of these armed bandit killed, even Halu, Sububu. So these armed bandits are indigenous. Without the cooperation of the indigenous people, that is the community, then you cannot get a vital information, because some of these armed bandits have been interrelating with people, and they have been, as I have said earlier, they have recruited many informants as much as possible, even within the traditional rulers. So these are some within the security agencies. You understand? So these are the danger. Some of the, like last year, 2024, some Nigerian Civil Defense Corps was arrested supplying arms and ammunition to armed bandits in Mada local government, in Mada in Gusau district. So some even military, some soldiers in Shinkafi were arrested during the Bello Matole administration selling ammunition, live ammunition, is armed bandit. So these are some of the challenges we are facing.
But do you, Dr. Shinkafi, do you think that the indigenous people, the locals, really understand what is at stake here, especially the relationship between peace in those communities and the economic power you talked about? For instance, the plan of government to intensify efforts to lower costs is basically boosting food production and promoting local manufacturing. The prices aren't going to come down if we are still under the spell of these bandits. Do you think the people in these communities understand this critical relationship?
No, they don't understand this critical indices. You see, this issue of insecurity, there is no way, you see, 80% of the arable land in Zamfara State are uncultivated due to the activities of this armed bandit. And that is give part to the food insecurity and also the increase in the price of food items in the northern Nigeria. When over 36 million arable land are uncultivated, then there is no doubt about it. It's obvious. Then this country people will be on hunger. There will be a food insecurity. And the government cannot increase the local manufacturing when this country is not secured, when we have a weak infrastructure, corruption. You understand? The government has to do everything humanly possible to develop the infrastructure and also give room for foreign direct investment. When your country is not secured, then of economic growth and development is very minimal. So that should be the government should do everything humanly possible to secure the country. It will be a conducive environment for foreign investors and also for local manufacturing. It is very unfortunate.
Yes.
The Nigerian statistics issue a report in the 2024, 2.2 trillion was spent as ransom to this group of criminal armed bandits. It's a slap to the Nigerian security and also to the federal government. You understand? 2.2 trillion. That is about 50% or 48% of the budget appropriated to security and defense was paid as ransom. Well, this is very unfortunate.
Indeed, it is, and it's a figure coming from the NBS, so we can hardly, doubt it. Well, let's take one more caller if we can. Uzuabu has called in from Abuja. Are you still there?
Hello?
All right, you have to turn down the volume of your TV. Go ahead with the contribution.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead with the contribution, please.
Yeah, the name is Izwagbe, not Izwagu.
All right.
Not Izwagu.
All right.
Izwagbe. Izwagbe.
JBU.
Yeah,
All right.
Good morning, Doctor. You've given quite an incisive analysis this morning. And I think some of the major problems we have in this country has to do with the fact that they don't listen to people like you. Those are the aim of affairs. It's a very big problem. These are realistic issues. For instance, Mr. President came in from day one and started focusing on the economy. Deregulation of the petroleum sector, fuel subsidy is gone, the floating of the naira, and that has changed a whole lot of things. But if we go deep, we find that solving the problem of this country cannot be done with economy alone. The political sector is a major issue. Let us go back to what General Babangida did in his time. When he deliberately formed two political parties, the NRC and the SDP, had secretariats all through the states of the federation up to the local government level. And political parties were to be financed by the government. So then we have people who have adjusted the political system, but private political parties as private companies that are just being used as a tool to hold on to power in the system.
All right.
If we want to correct the ills of this society, we have to retrace our steps.
All right.
Let us go back to those days and get ourselves political parties that are funded by government, not more than two political parties. And then in that way, we'll be able to have political parties with ideologies.
I believe you made your point, Mr. Izwagbo. Thank you so much for your contribution. That's how much time we can take. Dr. Shinkafi is saying perhaps the problem is that people in government are not listening to people like you, and that it's important that we tackle the issue of economy alongside the issue of insecurity. But I want to touch on one more thing we heard from Mr. President during his New Year Day speech. It has to do with his plan to unveil the National Values Charter and launch a national orientation campaign. According to Mr. President, this is critical in his ongoing reform. What's your idea of what the people must do or can do to help this administration, stakeholders like the civil society and citizens at large?
You see, there's a lot of misconception, miscommunication on the issue of this present administration. People have been calling this administration all kinds of names. Urbanization, they have been saying that the present administration, all the major appointments have been lopsided, have been appointed from the Northwest extraction. And a lot of people are looking at the government as a government of lobbies and government of nepotism. So there is need for national orientation on the policy and the programs of this administration and also implementation of some policies. Like, let me take you back to the 2024 on the issue of Nigeria tax reform bill. There is a lot of misconception, miscommunication, and also it has been politicized. All some of the controversies and the gray area on the Nigeria tax reform bill are avoidable if there is a wider consultation and communication. There's a lot of accusation, counter-accusation, blame and counter-blame on the implementation of these new tax reform bills. So the need for national orientation, public enlightenment, people need to be educated on some policy program of the government so that people will not feel substandard, because this country, since 1914, the amalgamation of Northern and Southern Protectorate, when we Nigerians agreed to become united and as a federal republic. So that should be a national orientation on the piece of the government and the of these policies, so that people will not feel change or should not be feel biased.
All right. That's our time. I've been speaking with Executive Director, Patriots for Advancement of Peace and Social Development, Dr. Sani Abdullahi Shinkafi. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the program this morning.
Well, thank you for having me. And once again, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and to all of our viewers. That's our show today. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. See you again tomorrow.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.